Boker Tov. This week's Parshat Vayishlach, the Dvar Torah, is being sponsored by Renata Gemeinde in the honor of her husband's birthday, Joe. And we wish you, Joe, Mazal Tov, and you should have a lot of nachas with your family and everyone together. Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Kol Mishalot Libchem L'Tova. Everything that you want, Hashem should fulfill for the good. In Parshat Vayishlach, the beginning, we read about the dramatic meeting of Yaakov and Eisav. And the Torah starts off by telling us that Yaakov sends messages to Eisav, and he says to him, he instructs the messengers that they have to tell Eisav the following, that I sojourned with Lavan, im Lavan garti vayechar ad ata, and I was delayed, and I've got Shor and Chamor, etc., and I'm sending this following gift to you. So Rashi on this pasuk, which says that Yaakov introduces him the bracha by saying that I lived with Lavan garti. So Rashi says that Yaakov spoke in a diplomatic language. In other words, he spoke on two levels. And one of the levels that he meant to hint to his brother Eisav was to tell him that in Lavar Garti, that the word Garti can be also spelled Taryag, which means 613. And he was hinting to Eisav that despite the fact that he was in Lavan's home for 20 years, nevertheless he kept the 613 mitzvot. The language of Rashi is that im Lavan garti v'taryag mitzvot shamarti, that are guarded, that are observed the 613 mitzvot. But this is so therefore what he's trying to say to Eisav is he's trying to tell him, he's trying to threaten him and saying to him, listen, you're not foolish. You know from our father Yitzchak the value of Torah. You might not keep Torah, but having observed our father Yitzchak, you know the power of Torah. And I'm telling you that I lived in Lavan's household, and I kept the 613 mitzvot. So I observed the Torah, and therefore you must watch your step, because our father blessed me, or he said that you'd be able to have power over me only if I didn't keep Torah mitzvot, but I did. The difficulty that everyone raises is that, in fact, he didn't keep Taryag mitzvot, because one of the most basic mitzvot in the Torah is that a person is not allowed to marry two sisters at the same time. Only after one sister has died is a person allowed to marry the second sister. Even if he divorced the one sister, as long as the two sisters are alive, he's not allowed to marry the second one. So in fact, Yaakov didn't observe the Taryag mitzvot. But Rav Wolbe and others, there's many who said this, and they say that we must take note of the language of Rashi, quoting the Midrash. It doesn't say Taryag mitzvot kiyamti. The word lekayem means to fulfill. But the word shomer, it can mean to guard, but shomer can also mean to wait and to anticipate. For example, in the coming week Sedra, it says that Yosef had dreams, and everyone was very agitated and very, very cross about it. And it says that Yaakov shamar et hadavar. What does it mean, shamar et hadavar? It means he waited, he anticipated when these dreams are going to unfold. So therefore, when it says when Rashi quotes the Midrash that Yaakov hinted to Eisav, Taryag mitzvot shamarti, it means that you should know that I didn't necessarily fulfill all of the mitzvot, but what I did was I always longed and anticipated to keep the mitzvot. That's what it means. The 613 mitzvot were so much part of my personality. I'm so attached to them. I'm so connected to them that even though I was in the home of Lavan, I always looked forward and still looking forward and anticipating when I'll be able to fulfill all these 613 mitzvot. And that's the way that I'd like to end off with a story of this should be our basic inner approach, even when we sometimes find it difficult to technically fulfill the mitzvot. There's a story about a community in Holland that only distinguished members were able to be part of the Chevra Kadisha. And the problem was always that there was Kohanim who were outstanding members of the Kehillah, and they could never really be part of the Chevra Kadisha because as Kohanim, they could never participate in the burial, the Tara, etc. But there's a story about when the community, I think it was a community of a person called Rabbi Lewis, when they purchased a new plot of land, so to have a new cemetery, the old cemetery was full or whatever. So there was a person who died, and people found that already that the members of the Chevra Kadisha found that the cemetery was already, there was a grave that was already dug. And who was it dug? By none other than a person called Moshe Kohen, who always wanted to be part of the Chevra Kadisha, and he could never be, but he anticipated, he watched, he was like a scout and always looked forward to an opportunity, to maybe some sort of change in circumstance where maybe he'd be able to be part of the Chevra Kadisha. And this 1 in a million time came up, in which now a new part of the cemetery had to be consecrated. And that's what he did was, there was no dead people in the cemetery. He was the first one to dig it. And that's what we mean now about when we say that a person should shomer ha-mitzvot. Shomer mitzvot, that he guards, he observes, he waits for the opportunity when he's able to fulfill the mitzvot. Even now, for technical reasons, he can't do it. And this is what Yaakov is saying to Eisav. Yaakov saying to Eisav is that I might not have always had the opportunity to actually fulfill. But it's not because it was out of tardiness. It wasn't because I wasn't connected. Taryag mitzvot shamarti. I was always guarding and waiting and anticipating, longing from the time that I'll be able to actually fulfill the mitzvot.